ऐश्वर्या तू म्यूट पर है.
Shwaya, you're muted.
Hello everyone, welcome to the fifth episode of the Intern Insights Podcast, brought to you by Career Mentorship BSW. I'm Aishwarya and I'm joined by my co-host Pratyush. Today we have an exciting episode lined up for you as we dive into the world of careers in core. We have four special guests working in various core domains with us, and they will be sharing their valuable experiences and insights with us. First of all, we would like to start the podcast with a short introduction from our panel members.
Okay.
Prakhar, sir, could you start the intro?
Yeah. So hi, I'm Prakhar. I am a pre-final year, third year completed chemical engineering department student, and I am interning right now in Unilever. So there's a big difference that I'll explain in the podcast between Unilever and HUL. So it's Unilever actually. And one thing I've been involved mostly in colleges and actors. I am currently the OC of an actors IT Delhi.
Okay.
Um,
Sarthak, sir.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarthak from E1 department. I'm currently interning at Texas Instruments Bangalore. So one thing I've been involved in is I think two things I would say. One is board of hostel management as well as economics club. So two things I'm quite involved in. Looking forward to the session.
Hi guys, I'm Priyanshu. I'm currently in my third year and I'm interning at Qualcomm. And the one thing I'm involved is dramatics. I served as a dramatic secretary last year and now I'm interning at Qualcomm.
Okay. Deep, sir.
I'm Deep, mechanical, and I'm currently interning at ITC Limited. I was involved in RDV, Board of Hostel
So your
Management,
sound is a
robotics
bit
training
low.
class. Guys, can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi.
Hello. So I'm currently interning at ITC Limited. Last year, I was involved in many things: robotics, hostel management, and other stuff. And that's it. We'll get to the podcast now.
Bit. So, what motivated you to pursue a career in the core domain, considering that it is not a conventional route? Was it a genuine passion or other factors that influenced your decision? If it was indeed driven by interest, could you elaborate on how your interest in the core domain developed over time? Priyanshu sir, could you take up this question?
So going into core domain is a bit off track, obviously. Like things like being you come in IIT and things people know about tech and all, you're getting 1 crore packages. So if I talk about like how I went into it, so it was mainly in the beginning. So the first year itself, I in the summers I took a project which was related to my core domain only, with some circuit designing and all. So that intrigued me a bit, and in second year as well. So the courses that were there seems to be more interesting than Col 106 or data structure and all. So thereby in second year and then the second year I got Sura. So that was mostly into like I tried coding as well. It's not like I didn't try coding. I tried coding, but that was thing that okay, that's fine, but that's not something which I was doing it by heart. So with the things is more about interest. So you try, give it a shot. Everything first year is mainly for give it a shot, and second year as well you can try multiple things. So whichever your interest aligns with. So yeah,
Great.
I think
Prakash,
Deep
sir?
can also add on to this.
Okay,
Yeah.
Deep sir.
Yeah, Deep, you can.
So if you're talking about, there are basically three types of people going to core. Like first, if you've completely thought that core is my thing, I've joined this department by interest and I want to do a placement and everything in my life at this, then core is for you. Second, you're not sure what to figure out, but you think what you're studying is cool and you'd like to do an intern and then maybe you'd like to do a placement. And third, which is for me, I didn't have a definitive idea where to intern. I was just exploring. Core companies came, why don't you apply? I applied, and then now I'm enjoying my work. So you can fall in any of these categories if you're going into code.
Great.
So now for the second question, I would like to direct this question to Deep sir. So how did you prepare for the internship process? What were the things you focused upon? And what resources did you rely on during your preparation?
Okay, so for I'll be sticking to ITC. So for ITC, the first round is you have to submit a form. I don't think that holds much of an importance, but that doesn't mean you fill it randomly. It's basically an sort of form based on what you've achieved in college, what you plan to do in ITC when you if you join. So that's the first step. Mostly for ITC, the selection is on the basis of your resume shortlist and CG criteria. Moving on, there is a round called GD, group discussion. So group discussion, basically those questions are very easy to understand, but at the same time very difficult to answer because there are confusing questions. Like if you find out an answer, at the same time someone will have another answer and you won't be able to deny his. So what you have to aim for in a GD is how do you present the best your answer. You don't have to cut anyone else. You just have to show that okay, mine is also good. To prepare for a GD round, you can look at group discussions on YouTube. On Quora also, you'll find many ITC specific or in general GDs. If you go into companies like Wipro, there is an online test. The online test is basically mostly mental ability in English. The key points I'll suggest is don't skip any sections in there. Each section carries their own weightage. Yeah, there would be English, mental ability, logical reasoning, that sort of stuff only. So if you're not really familiar or compatible with mental ability, I suggest you do an online assessment or solve some books. But apart from that, no much need of preparation in those rounds. The next is main is interview round. So interview would again be divided into your technical and HR. For technical, the first thing you have to do is you have to mug up your CV. Like you have to know each and every point that I've written there. You'll be like, I have done so many such good projects, and if they ask anything out of project, it will be good for me. But they'll take out the scholastic achievement or something that you've written, and the interview could go on for half an hour on that. So like my CV had a bit of robotics, so they actually gave me a pen and paper and asked me to design mechanisms on those. Uh, if I did a term paper in MCL2 for when the mechanical guys would understand, they'll ask me questions related to the subject. Draw draw a PV diagram, explain the process, everything. So one is remember your CV well, and second is revise your core subjects. So I can write in the chat if that's possible, and you can share somewhere on the YouTube live what would be mechanical specific subjects that you'll have to focus on for the interview. And for the HR round, you just have to be confident. But in core companies, you can expect them to ask technical questions in the HR round too. Don't be startled if that happens, because everyone knows technical stuff. Uh, I went into an HR round, and the first three questions they threw at me were technical, not even related to my CV, just general mechanical stuff related to engines and all. So that's just common sense in what you know about an environment. They won't ask you stuff related to the company. They know you're not that familiar, but you have to be familiar with the structure of the company. Where is the company started? What is the aim of the company? What does the company do? All that stuff. So I think that much preparation is enough for a core intern.
Thank you for that answer, Deep sir. Additionally, since you're all from various branches, uh, an additional question I have is how relevant is the course curriculum that we go through in the in our course to what you're doing in our jobs and for clearing the interview process? This is directed towards all of you.
I can answer that. See, particularly chemical engineering, I'll talk about that. So in chemical engineering, you get a lot of core companies coming in. So again, chemical core becomes important. But again, it's all about you how you will, how you can shape your interview, how you wanna. Because if you have written something in your CV, that has to be definitely there. So most of the time, and it's true for Unilever. So they're gonna ask you regarding your CV only. So ऐसा नहीं कि randomly, if you haven't written anything about लेट्स से केमिकल रिएक्शन इंजीनियरिंग तो सीआरई से रैंडमली क्वेश्चन पूछ लेंगे वो बहुत ही कम होता है बट इट्स ऑल अबाउट आपने सीवी में क्या लिखा है उससे रिलेटेड दे ट्राई टू बिल्ड अप बट येस देयर आर सर्टेन क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आर जनरल सो दे एक्सपेक्ट कि अच्छा हाँ इफ यू आर गेटिंग अ पर्सन इन कोर इंजीनियरिंग उसको पता होना चाहिए एंड इवन इफ दे डोंट आस्क फाइनली इन द जॉब ना मतलब व्हेन यू गो अहेड let's say you go into pilot plants or factories or stuff if you ever go so again if you see you'll actually see the like maxed version of what you see in your labs, right? A fluidized bed and everything. So then you'll be intrigued. Okay, अच्छा हाँ ये तो हम सब पढ़ते थे यहाँ तो actual में कर रहे हैं. So that's where these things interest you and everything. So yeah, I mean it's fairly important. Depends on the company, depends on your CV. But it's good to know basic important things for chemical engineering, thermodynamics, CRE, and yeah, something called scaling up of industries that will learn. So I think that's really important.
Sarthak, so you're from the electrical branch. So was your experience similar to Prakhar, or is there something different related to this that you would like to add to this? So you muted.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I would concur with what Prakhar said. For electrical, a large number of companies come with various profiles. So my domain is digital engineering. So for digital, we have a digital electronics course, and most of the test as well as the interview was based on what we were taught, means latches, flip flops, registers, and they even actually in the interview gave a question where they had asked us to draw something based on what we were taught. A very similar thing was done by Professor Manansuri in the class. Very same thing, but we were like, yeah, because they don't ask subjective questions, they usually ask objectively. So that was one part where you feel a little but yeah, it was almost sort of like 201 repeat with a little bit of addition of I would say if you sit for embedded profile, like they also have a little bit on 305 computer architecture, but with starting the basics. Analog ke liye it becomes different, but the tests comprise of basic circuit theory and thoda sa op amp ka ek jo jagah diya tha. Otherwise it was mostly capacitor charging, discharging and circuit solve. So it's basically based on course. So if you are thorough with your course, so I think electrical core wouldn't be very difficult.
I'll add one more thing. So basically, in our not happened in my interview with my fellow friends. So they ask you a favorite topic. So they'll ask you what you want to answer about, and then they'll ask you questions. Secondly, if they ask you some question that haven't been taught to you, some topic that's gonna come in the future and everything, you can always say that this hasn't been taught because they are not thorough with your curriculum. So again, you can say that.
That's true.
And they won't take a BT for it, or they'll mark you down for it. They'll understand, yeah, ठीक है, नहीं पढ़ा है. But again, the topic that you're saying is my favorite. You have to be thorough with that.
Great. So we all know that projects play an important role in one's portfolio when applying for the core intern. There needs to be more clarity amongst the students on what kind of projects to choose and how to approach professors from them. So could you shed some light on what kind of projects you did and how did you approach professors for those opportunities? Priyanshu sir, could you take up the question?
Okay. So yeah, this is a good question actually. So in second year, most people are always confused ki what to do. They always try for research intern and all. So what happens is for research intern, if you have heard from your seniors that you cold mail all the professors in your department or whatever, like suppose you want to work in AIML or suppose you want to work in coding and all. So you cold mail all the emails, all the professors of all the universities. So yeah, that works to one extent, but if you if you narrowed it down to what topic you want to work into, that is actually more beneficial, if I would say. So in my case, it worked in the second way around. So I had one topic which I always wanted to work on. This was energy harvesting. So I just got into it and I went to my professor. Generally, it doesn't happen. You get to a professor and ask that, what project do you have? So it was in my case, I went to a professor and said that I have this project. If you have someone to work with it, then please let me know. So that was the case. But in general, I would say if you need to work on the projects, on the topics which are in hot research, right? So in case of electrical, nowadays it's energy harvesting is in a bit more limelight, and also along with this, your green energy solutions and your reducing footprint is reducing chip size. So these are the topics which are mostly in research nowadays. Don't go for traditional circuit designs. These are or traditional digital logic design. They are not as in limelight as these are. So if you go in this topic, which is very new or which is in present research, it looks very good on your CV. Actually, it looks very good on your CV that you are aware of what technologies and what things are going around the world, right? So our curriculum is basically not something that is we are directly working on. Your curriculum is 40 years old, so you don't we don't work on things that in industry your concepts will not be used directly. Never. Your 202, 203 never comes directly in the industries.
Hmm. True.
So the thing is, it's basically it's for clearing our concepts. So go to a prof and said that go to the prof and say that yes, I want to work in your area. Tell me something which is more which is more recent or which is more in limelight, right? It's not that you are very proficient. It might not be that you have that knowledge. You will have that knowledge. You don't will not have that knowledge. Like I didn't have any knowledge about RF energy harvesting. I studied a lot, so that happens. But try to work in those area which is in limelight, right? Also, this was the kind of projects. What was the second part of the question, Ashwarya?
So, like, what kind of projects you did and how did you approach for professors and
Acha,
opportunities?
approaching the professors. Okay. Yeah. So approaching the professors also simple. You just go on the website of IIT Delhi if you want to work with someone here or someone. Um, ISC Bangalore and IST Trivandrum. These two are the institutes which whose professors you can approach to. These are very good professors. They have so you can go to the sites and check like which of the research fields you are aligned with. It's not like in core electrical you like all the subjects. Some people like embedded systems, some people like electrical machineries. So it depends. So go to a prof and say that yes, this is this. Make a cover letter, make a resume. So just go to them and say that I'm interested in this area. Do you have any project I would like to work with you? That's reason. So yeah, streamline your thought process, streamline your project and project idea to very concise things. Don't be very broad and say I want to work in electrical machineries. I want to work in digital logic. That doesn't make sense. Digital logic is a very vast topic. So be specific. That you might not know what uh, topics would be there in digital logic, but go to internet, surf through the professor's web page. You will get to know some of the topics that are there. कुछ कुछ पता चल जाएंगे कि ये topics हैं. Go to them and say कि ये topic है, I'm interested in this. We have something for that. So yeah, this was my personal approach.
Great, great. Deep
Adding
sir,
a
would
little to
you?
that, just one thing to that, कि मतलब there, because you're just in second year, तो maybe idea ना हो या उतना कि what things to be done, तो a few professors are very open to discussions भी, मतलब जैसे he said कि net पे जाके खुद से Priyanshu said कि you can search out. If you feel that you're not up to it, you can often मतलब few professors you know they would be free to वो 5-10 मिनट discuss भी कर लेते हैं. Especially offline setting में, they are also very open for that. So won't be that daunting. Especially if you want core, तो IIT Delhi तो is number one in core research India में electrical domain में. So you will have plenty of opportunities. Sorry to मतलब intercede.
नहीं ठीक है, that's very fine. मतलब आप बात कर लो उनसे, ऐसा कुछ issue नहीं होता. That's not a big issue. Just go to them, talk to them that you have 5 minutes. I want to talk about that. What's going on in the industry? They would be they're very friendly.
They would be very happy actually. Smile होगी चेहरे पे.
Exactly. They would be very happy. So,
Okay. Deep sir, would you like to add on for your domain?
I personally didn't do any specific core project under professor. So in the project section, what I included was some projects and some stuff that I did in the as a part of robotics club. And they tested in the interview whether I just wrote it or like I told already. They asked me to make those designs by hand on the paper. So I think that is another approach to projects if you think, not through professors. But since Sura is over for you guys, if you're doing it, it's good, well enough. But for the more junior who's watching this, Sura is a nice option, but don't be stuck to it. That's just one way of going. Uh, the one thing which I did not do and you definitely should do is talk to professors more. Like Priyanshu and Sarthak said, you talk about course, you talk about grades, they're used to hearing it. If you approach them and you talk about, sir, there is something I'm interested in, I want to do this, or I just want to know what's happened, they'll be more than happy to help you out. There are tons of professors. If you don't find someone who aligns with your interest here, do a remote one. But just keep on expanding your scope. And even if you have done something which is not related to core, like don't be afraid to write it, because nowadays core companies are also looking for AI/ML enthusiasts. Like personal ITC, there are many interns who are working in AI/ML or maybe full stack development, which is not at all related to what they studied in electrical or mechanical. So don't be shy in applying if you have not done something for the core, or even if your complete CV is machine learning based. So just include what you have written, know what you have done, be thorough with it, and it will surely help you somewhere or another.
Great.
Yes, so the next question is sort of related to this one. So some of you have done a research internship, some of you have not. So do you think that having done an internship after the second year gives one an edge in this process? And how beneficial is doing a research internship for a core job?
I'll answer this because I haven't done a research internship in my second year, contrary to most of the people that do. So I did a corporate internship in my second year, okay, end May. And I'll not say that the work that I did was directly the most important work in my interview, but the project which I got here is a lot correlated to what I did there. And I think they'd certainly note that. Second, I think that includes the last question also, is key projects under professor. So I didn't have any projects under any professor related to my core engineering. But again, I was in an actors and I did a few projects slash startups there. So they were a lot correlated to FMCGs and everything. So that's how you shape your interview. So you don't have to be worried कि यार अच्छा मेरी तो research intern भी नहीं लगी, मेरा तो कोई सूरा भी नहीं है, मेरा core में कैसे होगा. Again, it's all about how you present those projects and show कि यार अच्छा मैंने इसमें काम करा हुआ है, मुझे ये सब पता है, एंड दैट विल बी बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू गाइस अगर मैं आपकी कंपनी में आता हूँ और मुझे नॉलेज है आपकी इंडस्ट्री के बारे में और मुझे नॉलेज है कोर के बारे में, एंड आई कैन डू ऑल अबाउट इट. सो आई थिंक इट्स नॉट, it's good if you have done it, but if you haven't done it, know what you have done it, shape it around the company that you are trying to present, and again present it. So और अगर नहीं तो कुछ आइडियाज खुद सोच के चले रहो कि अच्छा मुझे आपकी कंपनी के बारे में ये आइडिया था, रीड अबाउट द कंपनी अ लॉट. सो आई थिंक इट विल हैपन. दे डोंट टेक पर्सनली कि यार इसने तो कुछ कोर में करा दिया.
Priyanshu, sir, you've done a project. So, what according to you is the appropriate time to do a project? Like in which break or in which after which year is the correct time to do it?
Yeah, so the correct time it depends. Yeah, matlab, if you're free, I tried working on an ongoing semester, but I don't get that much of time because I was engaged in some other activities as well. So in summer break, it's a good opportunity to work upon, but that's fine. Like and you guys are appearing, the people who would be watching the series would be appearing for internship right now. So yeah, that's fine. What have you done? Main thing is you would add some course project as well. There are a lot of course projects that are there in electrical. So main thing, like Prakhar told, that highlight the projects in which you are strong, right? सबसे ऊपर उसको लिखो जिसमें तुम सबसे strong हो, ठीक है? You should be very thorough about it. So you should shape your interview, like Prakhar said, onto your strengths, not your weaknesses, right? अगर तुम्हें पता है कि ये project में सबसे अच्छे से आता है, then start saying like, yeah, I have done this thing, this is the project, and then start going into that. Try to take the interviewer to that part in which you are strong, right? Or if you haven't done any course, then you can clearly say that. Like they asked in my interview, have you done VLSI course? I said no, that's not the part of our curriculum. So I said okay, fine. So that's not a big issue because they don't know what your courses you have done. So yeah.
Adding something to that from another of my friends' experience. Basically, you get a bit nervous to do interviews. It happens to everyone. It's fine. So they asked him of a course. Did you know this? He confused it. It was supposed to be happening in the fifth semester. He confused it with something that we had done in the fourth, and he said yes. And then once they kind of feel that they have something to ask which you can't give answer to, they'll keep on digging into it till the point to give up. These every interview does. So one thing is, take your time to answer. It's not a rapid fire round. They have their time, you have your time. Take your time to answer each and every question, even if it's a yes or no question. Think about it. If you have to think an answer to something, tell them, sir, I'll need some time. don't rush into the solution. This was suggested to me by the interviewer himself. Don't rush into it. Keep calm, take breath, and then give your answer. That will be more beneficial.
आई थिंक इसमें यही होता है बीइंग एट द लाइक टॉप माइंड अवेयरनेस, उसमें प्रेजेंस ऑफ माइंड एंड एंड में शेप योर इंटरव्यू, बी इन द कंट्रोल ऑफ योर इंटरव्यू. बिल्कुल ऐसे इंटरव्यूअर ऐसे मत बोल देना. अगर वो तुमसे कुछ पूछे कि अच्छा मैं क्या पूछूं, तो डोंट बी लाइक सर जो आपको अच्छा लगे. बी इन द कंट्रोल ऑफ योर इंटरव्यू. वरना अगर वो पूछने लग गया तो वो कुछ भी रैंडम पूछने लग जाएगा. यू नेवर नो. तो बी इन कंट्रोल ऑफ इट. या
Great. So, what according to you is the importance of PORs and ECAs when core recruiters look at your CV? And how important is your CG for landing a core internship? Is there any minimum CG which should be maintained while applying for these roles? Priyanshu sir?
Second part first. For the minimum CG, depends on company to company. Like what I yeah, so it's mostly 8 or 7.5. Qualcomm was 7.5, I guess. I don't remember exactly. And some of the companies like Nvidia, I guess it was 8. I'm not sure, but I think it was 8. So it's like, yeah, the minimum bar is 7, obviously. I've heard from everyone. So minimum bar is 7. And core companies, yeah, most of them may take a bar 7, 7.5. That's it, not more than that. 8 is a rare thing. They do not generally put rare 8. So in electrical, we have 3, 4 companies only, like JLR, Nvidia, Qualcomm, and Texas Instruments. The 4 companies are main. So they put bar of 7.5. That's or 8 something. Sometimes 8, and they also decrease it if they do not find much of the candidates that are above the CG shortlist. So app CG, I would say it's 7.5. And the PORs and ECA, yeah, they not matter much in this core interns. It matters while they're confused from between two candidates, right? So if you say that, yeah, I am, if they see something like, yeah, he was one of the, he has done something in other clubs or in other things other than academics, it means he has tried to manage he or she had tried to manage things well, right? So it's not something like they consult. So their POR and ECA matters a lot, but here it does not matter. Here it's just for your side hustle that's going on. So that's not much a big deal. So even if you have something in social endeavors part, so that's also would suffice. That's fine.
I'll like to add for Unilever particularly this. So the Unilever internship is called a Unilever Leadership Internship Program. So basically, it's not just a core internship program. You also have to make sure ki you have other skills also. And even when you get a final PPO and something, you are a two-way manager that you get into the company. So they also look कि अच्छा तुमने क्या leadership का करा है. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है, मतलब you can make up things. मतलब if you have done anything, you can show about your soft skills. Not necessarily कि तुम्हारे CV पे लिखा होना चाहिए. It's all about soft skills. तुमने क्या क्या कर रखे हैं. एंड मतलब मेरे केस में पर्टिकुलरली ECAs और PORs काफ़ी हेल्प कर रहा था क्योंकि मेरे पास प्रोजेक्ट्स नहीं था. तो जस्ट लुक एट कि तुम्हारे पास क्या स्ट्रॉन्ग पार्ट टाइम कर सकते हो. सेकेंडली यूनिलीवर का एक फॉर्म होता है, तो उसमें दे आस्क अ लॉट अबाउट दीज कि तुमने क्या क्या कर रखा है. तो उसमें यू हैव टू राइट समथिंग गुड क्योंकि उस स्क्रीनिंग में बहुत लोग हटते हैं. तो आई थिंक वो अभी आई थिंक एक नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है आगे. आई थिंक उसमें भी वी कैन टॉक अबाउट इट मोर. बट या
Okay, so now coming to one of the most important questions of this session, and I guess the reason for which a lot of people are watching this session is, what advice would you like to give to students preparing for core internships during these final months? As in, like right before the internship, they have to sit for the interview. What should they do to prepare for the procedure, and how much time should they allocate for the same? Prakhar, sir, if you
Uh, I'd like to add one thing to this thing. While making your CV for core intern, scholastic achievements play a key role. I think it did in my case. So think of everything you have done that has proof because OCS demands proof. Everything you have done, collect proofs. Think of all that you have done and put it in a CV. That section and project section. If you can make it large enough, you can, you know, make the PR and ECS part a bit shorter because those are the ones that matter a lot. And for I like almost all of the interviews, they'll ask you to bring a printout of your CV and then they'll start reading then and there itself. And then the first thing that they'll see, they'll ask. So if something I've done is interesting and you know about it, keep it on top. Keep it on top. Write more about it. Highlight it. Italicize, bold. Doesn't matter. Just their eye should land on something which you know about. So spend some quite good time in making your CV.
Adding on that from electrical perspective, subtle difference between the companies that open for mechanical and chemical and versus electrical is कि those companies are slightly more product facing. The product facing roles may CV take a slight more precedent. Even that POR angle, as Prakhar said, leadership program, definitely वो कहीं ना कहीं angle में आएगा. But for the roles that are offered, I think I don't know precisely about Jaguar because they had certain power related and unka kya tha, but for the three electronics related TI, Qualcomm and Nvidia, they were mostly like your regular IT tech firms. They would just test your questions. Their interview would focus mostly on that and maybe projects. Projects maybe they ask you relevant to the domain. Like if you are going for TI digital, they will ask तुमने कुछ digital domain में किया है for analog, something related to circuits for analog. Same for embedded. What is your experience in C or something related to that, microcontrollers or something. So it depends on the profile that you are applying for and the needs. So you can think about it. But yeah, projects are primarily what they look for. And थोड़ा calls भी उतना नहीं if they feel कि एक बार के लिए वो भी interview के panel पे depend करता है a lot.
Sure. I think I'll add an overall point of view इससे कि till you start making your CV till the end. So I think अभी 5-6 दिन मिलते हैं CV बनाने के लिए, तो उसमें तो give equal time to, मतलब ऐसा neglect मत कर देना कि core की CV end में देख लेंगे. Give good time to your core की CV, उसको अच्छे से projects को अच्छे से word करो. Also don't write anything that you don't know. ठीक है, क्योंकि if they find that, I think Priyanshu अभी बोल रहा था कि एक point मिल गया ना जो तुम्हें नहीं पता है, they'll just start digging into it. So don't write anything that you don't know. You should be thorough with everything. So I think उसमें अपना considerate amount दो. Then I'll talk about Unilever and I think मैंने और भी core companies के लिए भी है. तो जैसे ITC में भी होता है तो तुम्हें फॉर्म देते हैं वो इनिशियली, तो उसमें गिव अ गुड टाइम एंड गुड थिंक अबाउट इट. उसमें तुम आराम से आधा दिन दे सकते हो राइटिंग अबाउट देम. ऑल्सो डोंट कीप योर कोर की प्रिपरेशन टू द एंड, क्योंकि एंड में बहुत ज़्यादा केओस हो जाता है. यू हैव योर टेस्ट गोइंग ऑन कभी, मतलब क्योंकि टेक, अगर तुम टेक भी अप्लाई कर रहे हो तो तुम्हारे टेस्ट साथ साथ बन रहे हैं, अप्लाई भी कर रहे हो, फिर तुम्हारा कोर्सेज भी स्टार्ट हो रहे हैं, वहाँ भी हसल कर रहे हो तो तुम लोग. तो डोंट कीप द प्रिपरेशन ऑफ योर कोर टू द एंड. मतलब मैंने वैसे एंड के लिए रखा था, बट स्टिल नॉट एन एडवाइस दैट आई विल गिव. तो थोड़ा सा प्रेप कर लो अपना फोर्थ सेमेस्टर के केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग के लिए, तो कोर्सेज थोड़े से रिवाइज कर लो, और बाकी यू कैन टॉक टू द सीनियर्स फॉर द पर्टिकुलर कंपनी दैट यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन, तो दे कैन ऑल्सो गाइड यू कि क्या क्या आता है. एंड उसके बाद बीच में जैसे जीडी होता है, हमारे लिए एक हायर इंटरव्यू होता है, तो उसके लिए थिंक अबाउट इट, प्रेप अबाउट इट. एंड आई थिंक प्रेप के लिए आई थिंक टॉक टू सीनियर्स अलॉट, क्योंकि दीज आर नॉट थिंग्स दैट यू विल फाइंड इन अ बुक कि अच्छा इस इंटरव्यू में क्या पूछने वाले हैं. तो टॉक टू योर सीनियर्स, 2-3 सीनियर से बात करो उनसे अच्छे से कि सर क्या क्या पूछते हैं एंड कैसे मैं प्रेप करके लूँ. तो आई थिंक दे विल टेल यू मोर अबाउट द कंपनीज. बाकी ऐसा नहीं कि हाँ बहुत टाइम तुम्हें एलोकेट करने की जरूरत है कि नहीं यार मैं ना 15 दिन सिर्फ कोर के अच्छे से पढ़ने वाला हूँ. इट्स नॉट दैट, बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं चाहते हैं, बट यू शुड हैव enough knowledge about the topics, and mostly तुम्हारे curriculum से ही होता है, बाकी जो ना हो तो मना करो. Sorry.
Yeah, also one thing like for electrical internships, so make sure you have some coding background as well, because they ask, because it's required actually, right? So in Qualcomm as well, they'll ask regarding C code, C programming, C++ programming, or mostly Verilog programming if you sit in the digital part. So that's what they offer in the internship. Okay, so it's very important that you have and basic concept of coding. If you don't have right now, start preparing for root structure, start doing some of the coding questions, basic coding questions. So my interview was split into 3 parts. One part was coding. So because the job that you will do in internship, be in Nvidia, be it Qualcomm or anything, it would require your coding skills as well. So make sure you do that. But also if you don't have very strong background, you don't have any projects, that's fine. If you have any project in coding, do put it on first or second thing. That would be the most perfect thing. If you don't have, like I didn't had any coding project, not even Col 106 much enough. So yeah, so that's fine if you don't have, but put that in second or third place. That's good. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of panels were very inclined on asking Verilog. for digital domain कि ये आना चाहिए. But कुछ panels were little reliant कि if you say कि I don't know Verilog very well, so they would grill you on depth on the other parts of electrical, and they will see कि if you are doing almost everything okay, so they would forgo the part कि Verilog नहीं आता, because a lot of work which we currently do is also involving Verilog. You can learn it also. मतलब यहाँ पे आके थोड़ा से, in case you were one of the people, जैसे I was one of the people who didn't know Verilog well. मैंने मुंह पे बोल दिया था starting में, do you know Verilog? तो मैंने नहीं. So then he went पूरा FSMs पे and RAM BAM के ऊपर and went in depth उधर. So yeah, मतलब coding help is sort of requirement.
Okay, great. So group discussions are an important part of the interview process. Can you tell the audience what happens in a group discussion and how can one prepare for it?
यार यूनिलीवर में जीडी नहीं होता, तो मतलब कोई और आंसर कर दे ये तो.
So okay, so ITC is famous for its GD. So every year they have a GD round. So basically, ask your seniors around what is the what question they had in GD. Maybe you'll have a similar one. Almost all of those are available on the internet. So, like I said, there is no definitive answer. It's just how you present yourself. So number one, show your leadership skills in the GD. So most probably, or you will be sitting around your friends. Don't wait till your opportunity to answer. You have to snatch your opportunity to answer because everyone wants to speak there. You have to show that you'll not wait to answer. You'll not answer till the last. You have your point. You have it ready in your mind, and you'll speak as soon as you get the chance, or you'll snatch the chance from them. Introduce yourself well. Uh, Take others' opinions carefully, considerably, and form your answer around them. Like if you are suggesting an approach, like if I give an example, a question would be like, company has to offer a flat to these employees nearby your plant location, and all these have so and so constraints, so and so problems. So what would you do? So someone would answer a different opinion. So if you're trying to answer a different opinion, you also have to give alternative. Like, okay, why should the company give the flat to the guy INC? You can't just leave their problem alone. You have to do something from them. So that is one thing I did in my GD. So uh, suggest to speak as soon as you can. Take leadership. Uh, Speak well. Take others' opinions into consideration, and then try to end your GD also by either straight away you can say thank you, this was good, or try to be the one who collects all the opinions and then presents it to the guy who's sitting there. So again, till there are 6 to 7 guys sitting there. The one who's taking the GD has not met any of you once. The only time he's getting exposed to you are those 20 to 25 minutes. So you have to be in the highlight over there, and that will get you through the GD now.
Great. So one follow-up question was like, how did you prepare for the HR round of the interview process?
Should I answer that or anyone else would take? Okay, so I'll tell mine and you can add to it. So for HR, you won't need to prepare as such, but be prepared if they ask you questions about the company. Like for ITC, what do you know about ITC? Let's suppose. So founded in so and so, does so and so, businesses in so and so. Maybe the name of the CEO. Any information you can get publicly available on the internet. Like don't just go there blank. Like I want an intern, and if it's you, it's okay. If not, some other company. You have to show that I want to be an intern at your company. What can I do for your company, and what do I want to get from your company? So I think that is the way you should perform in an HR round. They'll obviously ask you your interest or passion, like hobbies. So try to make it interesting. Reading books is not a good answer. Everyone reads books. So if you're saying reading books, just be specific. I read these kind of books. Suppose you read Chetan Bhagat. I read Chetan Bhagat and I read only that. Look, you just have to make your HR round interesting. You should be smiling, they should be smiling. It should be a fun round. Don't make it depressing. And it's in your hand. They'll ask very general questions. The way you answer is the way that guides the part to your interview. And again, I like I said, be prepared to answer technical questions also. Don't be startled. Don't say that this was supposed to be an HR round. If they ask something technical, try to answer it to the best of your knowledge. It can be something that you have not even studied in mechanical, like they started asking me about engines and mileages and stuff. Nowhere taught in our four semesters. But then again, you have to answer from what you know from your common understanding, common sense. And if you're stuck, okay, sir, this much as I know, and that is all. They'll ask you questions like, would you be fine working at any location? Obviously, you have to say yes to that. I'll be fine working anywhere, even if you're not, because maybe they'll give you there, maybe they'll not. But if you straight away show that you'll only work where you're comfortable, like you like to be in your comfort zone, then that creates a very negative impact. So keep yourself very open in the HRO. That is my suggestion.
I think I'll agree a lot with what Deep is trying to say. Location wala to specifically because Unilever and ITC, they both are like pan India location companies. तो तुम्हें कोई भी location वो दे सकते हैं. So उनको उस हिसाब से होता है. बाकी HR round, particularly for Unilever, is included in your main interview. तो HR round becomes very very important because जो बंदा तुम्हारा वो इंटरव्यू ले रहा है that person is gonna similarly take your interview there. तो उसमें you have to, अगर तुमने जैसे मैंने अपने HR राउंड में बहुत इनएक्टर्स बोला था, तो मेरा फिर इंटरव्यू उसी हिसाब से शेप हो गया था आगे. तो वो तुम कर सकते हो. बाकी एक्टिविटीज में भी इंटरेस्टिंग वाला चीज है. ऑल्सो प्रेप नहीं करना होता इंटरव्यू में. तुम्हें HR इंटरव्यू के लिए पर्टिकुलरली हैव टू बी क्लियर इन योर थॉट्स, क्योंकि वो लोग तुम्हें ये देखना चाहते हैं तुम्हारी सॉफ्ट स्किल्स क्या हैं, तुम कितना क्लियरली सोच पा रहे हो और तुम नर्वस हो रहे हो कि नहीं. तो बी कूल, बी इंटरेस्टिंग एंड डोंट गेट नर्वस. और डिस्क्राइब योरसेल्फ लिख के चले जाना पहले शुरू में. तो थोड़ा सा वहां ना तुम वो नहीं हो गए. आई एम नॉट सेइंग रट के जाना, बट एक बार लिख के जाना. यू शुड बी नोइंग कि तुम्हें क्या क्या पॉइंट्स बोलने हैं, क्योंकि ऐसा ना हो जाए कि तुम वहां जाके भूल जाओ और तुमने सोचा अच्छा मैं इस पे इंटरव्यू कर लूंगा. ठीक है. और लास्ट थिंग चल से कि अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर ITC एंड यूनिलीवर पर्टिकुलरली, कि यार दीज कंपनीज हैव अ लॉट ऑफ ब्रांड्स दे हैव. ठीक है. तो मतलब इनके बहुत सारे ब्रांड्स है, बहुत सारे बिजनेस ग्रुप्स है. तो रीड ऑल अबाउट देम. तुम्हें पता होना चाहिए कि अच्छा ये कंपनी ये कर रही है. ऑल्सो नो कि ये कंपनी आगे क्या क्या रिसर्च कर रही है, क्योंकि सबकी वेबसाइट पे लिखा होता है कि अच्छा हम आगे ये कर रहे हैं, कुछ ना कुछ तो दे ही रखा होता है. तो रीड अबाउट देम, नो अबाउट कि कौन कौन सी कंपनीज हैं, क्या क्या वो आगे करना चाह रही हैं, फ्यूचर में क्या क्या करना चाह रही हैं. आई थिंक दैट गिव्स अ वेरी गुड इंप्रेशन. एंड अगेन क्योंकि सेम इंटरव्यू होता है तुम्हारा, तो it is very helpful for Unilever particularly.
Yeah, so one point I would like to add on, like Prakhar said, it's very important to know about the company. So in my case, it happened like, first thing, like describe yourself, just make it like a story. Let's start that I went in first year, I went to this, now I'm in second year, I did this, now I'm interested in this. Okay. So one thing they might ask, like in my interview, they asked like, why do you choose Qualcomm over other the chipset design companies or these companies? Okay. So main thing is you have to prepare according to the thing that interview likes, right? So उसका prepare कर लेना कि Qualcomm क्यों prefer कर रहे हो, फिर अब तो companies इसमें बैठे हो क्यों prefer कर रहे हो. That's very important. Okay. Also know about the company. Some things are there, like in one of the previous interviews, or not, I won't take the name, but so I told something which the interview was also didn't knew about that company, that this happens. So they really, a bit impressed or something, like they said, he said like, okay, yeah, this is a new thing which I also got to know. Okay. So get over the company, go into details like what this company do. Okay, before every interview. I'm not saying about specifically one or companies. In any interview you sit, you should know each and everything about the company. Go to their website, they write everything. They showcase everything, right? They also want publicity, right? They also want marketing. So they just go what projects are going on. Tell the interviewer, yes, I saw on the website that this Qualcomm is working on 6G chips in V2X. So yeah, they would interesting कि हाँ ठीक है इसने कुछ पढ़ा है कंपनी के बारे में. So they would take more. They would give you a bit of more advantage. Okay.
Guys, don't be shy to show you're over prepared for an interview. It's always nice to be over prepared. The
Yeah.
more you show I've read and prepared, the more they'll know is this is not some random company that you're coming as it to. You just want an internship. That will show that you specifically want to do an intern at this company and do that for all the companies you're sitting at. So that will give you a very high chance.
So one interesting thing which happened during the interview. So me and my friend, we are thinking what to wear for the interview, right? So then we're like, चलो सूट पहन के जाते हैं. At least उनको ये तो लगेगा कि हाँ, we are giving a lot of जो भी है उनको बहुत ज्यादा भाव दे रहे हैं हम लोग कि हाँ यार पूरा ऐसे वेल ड्रेस्ड प्रिपेयर होकर आए हैं. सो अगेन ऐसे टी शर्ट पहन के मत चले जाना. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि सूट ही पहन के जाना, बट बी थोड़ा सा वेल ड्रेस्ड ऑल्सो. ऐसा ना लगे ना कि यार वैसे बस कॉलेज से उठ के आ गए. थोड़ा सा हाँ मतलब उनको थोड़ा सा तो तुम वो दो इम्पोर्टेंस. सो या
Right. Also, one thing like in ending note, every interviewer asks, "Hey, do you have any questions?" ये मत बोल देना, "No, I don't have any questions." Ask something. ना कुछ जरूर पूछ लेना. ठीक है.
Ask about work, मतलब that's the most generic and key. That shows कि you are curious कि company क्या करती है. How was your experience when हल्का सा he would be also happy कि मेरी life में interest ले रहा है. These two things are like easy and it's good.
They asked
Yeah.
me, your CV is all about robotics, so is it fine if we give you something else? So there are three ways in which you can answer a question, and two are wrong. One, you don't have to say yes. Okay, so you just have to say okay, I can do anything, or you just have to say no, sir, I'll stick to robotics. You have to give a diplomatic answer, sir. It would be very better for me if you give me robotics or XYZ, because I have studied about XYZ and I can surely apply my knowledge about XYZ to do the intern in a better way. But since I'm open to learning, if you give me OPQ, I'll learn about it and then do OPQ. So these are some things to keep in mind while you are answering an HR interview. They know you're being diplomatic, but you have to be diplomatic. Don't be frank in an HR interview.
So the
And I
interviewer
think
is not a new one.
Yeah.
Interviewer would be a very experienced one. Okay, so they know they would have taken hundreds of interviews. उनको पता है कि तुम diplomatic हो रहे हो, but still.
and show that you are curious to learn about the company and learn new things. Matlab, this is even important after you get an internship if you want a PPO and everything. So matlab, I am also trying to do the same, but yeah, so matlab, be curious and show that you are willing to learn.
Yes, so now some of you did touch on this in the earlier parts of the you've gotten the internship, so that the audience gets an idea of what they can expect if they do get into code. So Prakhar sir, can you start with this question?
Okay, so I'll start बिल्कुल ऐसे beginning से. So सबसे पहले तुम्हारा एक TPT होगा, pre-placement talk होगा, and particularly Unilever का is very good. मतलब काफी उनके ऐसे fancy colors, Gen Z तुम्हें बहुत ऐसे करेंगे तो वो काफी अच्छा रहता है. तो उसमें go to listen to them, वो लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं, क्योंकि वो लोग काफी important चीजें बोलते हैं और काफी अच्छे लोग आते हैं. Then सबसे पहले तुम्हारा एक फॉर्म भराया जाता है which is pretty big. Give ample amount of time to that form. उसमें सारे questions होते हैं, technical questions, HR questions. It's basically an expansion of your whole CV. ठीक है, तो तुम्हें CV की बातें लिखनी होंगी but in थोड़ा सा detail and everything. उसके बाद second जो तुम्हारा राउंड होता है that is called a higher virtual interview round. तो that is a replacement to the GD. तो उसमें तुम्हें एक question दिखाया जाएगा for 2 to 3 minutes and वो तुम्हारा मतलब automatic होगा. There's nobody in front of you. So वो तुम्हें दिखाया जाएगा and then it'll start recording after 3 minutes or something and you'll get 3 minutes to answer. ठीक है, so तुम्हें 6 मिनट में एक क्वेश्चन समझ के पूरा आंसर भी कर देना. So that's how it done and there are 2 questions particularly. Ask your seniors about क्या previous questions रहे थे, क्या क्या आंसर करना होता है. It's quite helpful in that point of view. ठीक है, एंड उसके बाद एक लास्ट जो वो तुम्हारा राउंड होता है दैट इज द इंटरव्यू राउंड. आई थिंक प्रीवियस मेरे से पहले ईयर्स के लिए ऑफलाइन हुआ था वो, बट मेरा LHC में जाके ऑनलाइन देयर वाज सम पर्सन हु वाज देयर एंड मतलब उसमें तो यार आई थिंक जनरल वही होता है. देयर इज मिक्स्ड ऑफ HR एंड तुम्हारा टेक्निकल इंटरव्यू, तो उसमें वो सब कुछ पूछ लेंगे. शेप योर इंटरव्यू वेल. जैसे मैंने पहले ही बोला था कि गिव की मतलब क्या तुम वो कर रहे होते हो, मतलब गिव कॉन्टेक्स्ट कि तुम्हें आगे क्या बोलना है. शो इंटरेस्ट फॉर द कंपनी, क्योंकि तुम्हारा सेम इंटरव्यू होता है, यू कैन एक्चुअली यूज योर HR क्वेश्चंस टू शेप योर पर्टिकुलर जो टेक्निकल क्वेश्चंस वो पूछने वाले हैं. So that's a very good opportunity that you get here. Don't get nervous. Take a deep breath before going the interview. Blah blah blah. So मतलब वो सब chill होता है. Now the interesting part is तुम क्या work कर रहे होते हो when you come here. So I think in the beginning I said it's Unilever not HUL. तो basically क्या difference होता है is basically जो भी तुम काम कर रहे होते हो it's gonna be used worldwide. I'm talking about Unilever particularly. तो जो भी अगर जैसे मैं अभी जिस सेक्टर में काम कर रहा हूँ तो उसमें तुम्हें मतलब जो भी तुम्हारे स्टेक होल्डर्स बहुत ही ज़्यादा ग्लोबल टीम्स होती हैं. तो यू कैन नॉट जस्ट फोकस ऑन कि अच्छा मुंबई में ये हो रहा है तो मैं कुछ ऐसा एक सिस्टम डिज़ाइन कर देता हूँ जिससे कि आगे बेनिफिट हो जाएगा. तो ग्लोबली तुम्हारा काफ़ी रहता है एंड यू गेट गुड वो. इन टर्म्स ऑफ वर्क यू आर गिवन अ प्रोजेक्ट जो तुम्हें कंप्लीट करना होता है विद सर्टेन डिलीवरेबल्स 8 हफ्तों में. Work is good. Now the experience depends on people to people. Cause I was not a very chemi person. तो मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा इन्होंने केमिकल का R&D का काम नहीं दिया है. मुझे ऐसा नहीं है कि मुझे लैब कोट पहन के एक्सपेरिमेंट्स रन करने पड़ते हैं फिर प्रॉपर्टीज़ निकालनी होती है. बट मेरे जो कलीग्स हैं R&D में उनको ये काम मिला है. तो यू कैन नॉट से कि अच्छा मेरा एक्सपीरियंस ऐसा रहा है तो तुम्हें भी सेम एक्सपीरियंस मिलेगा. It depends and be ready for it also कि मिल भी सकते हैं. मेरा work is digital R&D में काम है. So I cannot exactly tell the काम मेरा क्या है but it is related to fragrances and some sort of innovation process मुझे समझ के उसमें उनको recommendations करना है. I'll say it's a work which is in between consulting and R&D. So I am liking my work particularly a lot. I am liking the company a lot क्योंकि उनके ethics and जो वर्क स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं आगे जो भी उनका होता है प्रमोशंस एंड जो भी स्टिंट्स का एक कॉन्सेप्ट है वहाँ पे तो वो सब मुझे पर्टिकुलरली बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. एंड अगर तुम एक R&D सेक्टर में जाते हो अच्छा ऑल्सो यूनिलीवर इज डिवाइडेड इनटू 2 रोल्स विच इज R&D एंड सप्लाई चेन. ठीक है. R&D इज ओनली ओपन टू केमिकल पीपल एंड सप्लाई चेन इज ओपन टू एवरीबडी आई मीन इट्स इलेक्ट्रिकल मैकेनिकल एंड केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग. तो R&D में पर्टिकुलरली तुम्हें ऐसा R&D स्पेसिफिक रोल दिया जाता है. जैसे मेरा R&D है यूनिलीवर R&D. सप्लाई चेन में यू आर सेंट टू फैक्ट्री लोकेशंस आल्सो. यू आर आल्सो इन मुंबई हेड ऑफिस डिपेंड्स अगेन एंड उसमें तुम्हें प्रोसेसिंग को रिलेटेड काम होता है. तो बेसिकली सप्लाई चेन में तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करोगे और R&D में तुम रिसर्च करके R&D रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस भी हो सकते हैं. मे बी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रही हो तो वो तुम R&D से सॉल्व कर लो. और R&D में लोकेशन तुम्हारी कैन बी सप्लाई चेन में योर लोकेशन कैन बी एनीथिंग. वन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड इज ऑफ टू बांग्लादेश सो फॉर इंटर्न इन यूनिलीवर. सो इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग. मस्त लोकेशंस होती हैं बट हाँ अगेन अकोमोडेशन एवरीथिंग इज नॉन दिस. तो तुम्हें ऐसे प्रॉब्लम भी नहीं होती कि यार बांग्लादेश भेज दिया कहाँ रहूँगा कैसे खाऊंगा. तो वो सब वो लोग सब देखते हैं. तो इट्स फन इंटरेस्टिंग. But be ready for anything because कुछ भी आ सकता है. You'll have to be dynamic. You'll have to learn. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. Sarthak, sir, would you like to continue with this and share your experience with Texas Instruments?
Yeah. Could you just briefly tell क्या चीज थी? मतलब there were 2-3 questions ना.
The first question was, could you describe the entire selection procedure from like getting shortlisted to...
Okay, selection procedure and then experience. Second was experience and how is the work. Okay. Yeah, so the selection process for Texas Instruments, I think they had one initial screening test. It's my aptitude and then there were 3 sections. One for digital, another for analog and third for embedded. So, matlab, it was up to you. Matlab, you had, I think, 2 hours of time. Ab usme whatever you want to attempt. I'm not sure about timing. It's been a while, kitna tha, but wahi tha ki matlab, you can just do one aptitude that was compulsory. Then you could do digital, analog, both. Some people did digital, analog, embedded. Some did only digital. I think I did digital and analog, from what I remember. And basically, as I mentioned before, that questions in digital were basically 201, a lot about sequential logics. कुछ जगहों पे थोड़ा मतलब circuits were little more like basics ही use कर रहे हैं, but you have to apply them. It's not like केवल straightforward होगा. थोड़ा सा तुम्हें you have to 2-3 concepts को assimilate करके and how to apply the good questions. A few were also straightforward. Analog was a lot about circuits ही मतलब charging discharging के circuit solving transient state के ऊपर कुछ and MOSFETs थे op amps थे and op amps उस वक्त I didn't know. तो अकाउंट्स वाले थोड़ा जो मेरे को पता था, I was trying to figure out and do because objective होता है, but I don't know how that went. So mostly it was like that. And post the screening test on day 2, मतलब Texas had मतलब virtual interviews. We were all called in LHC, and LHC में जैसे मतलब प्रखर का मतलब he said LHC में interview हुआ था, वैसे ही हुआ था. And it was a mixed HR cum technical round. Starting में as this said कि a little about yourself, why TI या why you want to intern, as a digital engineering intern, and then they they dived a little into projects. I think what have you done in the digital domain specifically? Course projects या कुछ भी ऐसे किया हो, and then from there what you explain, उसी पे they ask your first introductory question कि जो तुम्हारा project related उसी से, and then उससे घूमते हुए they go to your digital वाला domain, and उसमें ही a couple of questions then they would ask you Verilog या for immediate roles they also ask C or C++ का, and then they go ahead and ask, if you say no, so then they will go for harder sequence और उसके questions, and a lot of them to ensure कि maybe अगर इसको नहीं आ रहा तो go for that. Otherwise they would go to that Verilog domain and तुम्हें Verilog में कुछ लिखने को बोलेंगे, simple stuff, not that complicated, test bench लिखने को बोल देंगे or something of that sort. So this was it, matlab, in general. They were also planning to have another round, but I don't know, but TI in specific, there must have been some constraints, OCS की तरफ से की, so they didn't have another round. So they may or may not have that for. So this was for TI.
So your work experience in TI.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, work ex वाले में. So my job basically, because you have a sort of call with a mentor and a buddy mentor. They sort of have a discussion before you come to the intern about what you have studied, what you liked and everything. And उसके हिसाब से they formulate your project. You can get a sort of call a couple of weeks पहले, या even 1-2 months पहले भी, depending on what team you are assigned and everything. So when you come here, you would specifically have your onboarding and everything, and the project discussion, and it would be something which is, as Priyanshu mentioned, the industry works on the same basic principles, but on a very advanced scale. Like a lot of thing here is done, everything is done on simulators and models basically. कुछ भी तुम खुद से नहीं कर रहोगे. Most of that would be basically तुम्हारा system Verilog है. Verilog का थोड़ा सा एक और different variant, and you will have some certain. There's a design team, वो कुछ बना के भेजेगी, and then you will look. This my work is in functional domain. मतलब I should not be telling specifics, but I think I can tell a little bit. कि like basically there's a proprietary device, and it has to do say 7 or 8 types of functions. So I'm supposed to take up that device and see कि different kinds of situations में is that device functioning properly कि नहीं, and वही मतलब basically related to कि क्या क्या functions में क्या क्या चीजें कैसी हो रही हैं, and combination of them, and यही सब चीजें. So it's mostly related to lot of verification, because as a new intern जिसको experience नहीं, they won't give you design stuff. So most of my friends also are they doing something related to the functions are working कि नहीं कुछ safety पे, and embedded people they had some sort of, they are given chipsets actually company के, and उस पे they have to run some simulations or design some software for specific functions. So roughly work इसी type का होता है in general कि you would be given some device and you have to understand the device is working, and उसके हिसाब से then further proceed की on some certain subset of that की से ये function सही है कि नहीं, या what can be improved, is there something buggy, या automate कर दो इस चीज को. So overall I think it was fun with it's a mixture. There are weeks when you are like कि भाई क्या कर रहा हूँ, मतलब it's not working, it's just sort of frustrating, because often after the first week your mentor or maybe into the second week they will be like आप खुद से struggle करो थोड़ा. You have to figure out, you have to खुद learn Google करने भी you would get it, because a lot of stuff is मतलब because it's emerging cutting edge. Cutting edge technology है तो Google पे भी Stack Overflow ये सब पे चीजें नहीं मिलती हैं. तो you just go अपने आसपास की बगल में पूछो, ये पूछो, struggle, figure out, and then type भी तो. But when you get the satisfaction of figuring out कि क्या हो रहा है and the sort of learning that's with it, so I would say it was fun. मतलब तो sort of mixed bag with, I would say, satisfying होता है at the end once you figure things out. And that more or less comes. And company in general, I would say everybody was very approachable and very friendly. As Prakhar mentioned कि यार ethics वाला thing, and I would find कि यहाँ पे भी जो crowd था, they all are very welcoming and very friendly. I overall like the environment a lot. So that I think sums up everything.
I think one thing I'll also add कि जैसे अभी सार्थक ने बोला कि you have to figure things out on your own. तो पर्टिकुलरली यूनिलीवर में भी ये बहुत ज़्यादा होता है कि दे वोंट गाइड यू एवरी स्टेप ऑफ द वे, क्योंकि व्हेन यू गेट अ पीपीओ यू एंटर एज अ मैनेजर, बिकॉज मतलब तुम्हें काफ़ी एक अच्छी पोस्ट पे यू एंटर एज, तो यू हैव टू लीड योर ओन टीम, सो दे सी कि तुम ऐसा नहीं है कि तुम अच्छा अगर अपना काम अच्छा कर रहे हो, बट अगर इफ यू आर नॉट अ गुड लीडर एंड नॉट अ गुड टॉकर एंड मतलब तुम्हारे अंदर अगर सॉफ्ट स्किल्स अच्छे नहीं है तो तुम्हें वो सिलेक्ट कर लेंगे. दे ऑल्सो लुक कि मतलब यू शुड बी able to figure things out on your own. अगर कुछ stuck हो रहे हो तो there's a thin line कि तुम जाके सिर्फ जो जहाँ भी stuck हो गए you जाके just ask people, और ऐसा है कि तुम बस stuck हो एक हफ्ते के लिए because you have a very limited time to complete your whole project. तो तुम्हें बहुत ही एक वो फाइन बैलेंस ढूंढना होता है कि कहाँ मैं अपने ट्यूटर या मैनेजर से जाके पूछूं चीज़ें और कहाँ मैं खुद हासिल करके चीज़ें ढूंढूं. तो वो आई थिंक एवरी कंपनी विल लुक इनटू.
Thank you, sir. So, Deep, sir, I believe you touched on this a little bit in a previous question. So, would you like to add anything about the interview procedure and how is your work experience with ITC?
So yes, since I answered the preparation question, I think most of the GD and interview stuff I've already covered. So summing on that, for ITC there will be a form, but mostly for specifically for ITC, if I say, mostly their selection is basis on CG, not that form. So don't be disheartened. There are many core companies. If you're specifically going into core, you have to have patience. That's one thing. Next would be GD round, which I've told so much about, and then an interview and an HR interview round. So that sums up the selection process. Once you're there, you'll be allotted a random. What I feel it random. They have their own criteria for distributing projects. So basically, ITCs is pan India. Uh, the managers in each department share a list of projects, and then they allot it to students. So mine is in for identifying and making an action plan of improvement for boiler tube failures. So there are these huge boilers you may have read about in MCL 2 per 1 mechanical guys. So I have to identify the different types of failures and work upon them. So the best thing about ITC is they'll implement what you want if that sounds good. Like you have the freedom to actually go around and tell the operators or the operations team like, okay, so this I have an idea. This is backed by my so and so research, and I feel this would be good for the company, or I'd like to do a trial on this. They won't deny you. So that is the best thing about working at a big company. They're giving you a handsome stipend. That is because they expect things from you, so they won't deny you to do things. And like Prakhar said, in ITC, it's called AUT once you join a PPO, assistant under training. So at that point, you'll be making your own decisions. Again, AUTs also get projects and you have to deliver on them maybe in a longer period of time, like 6 months. But the core thing remains the same. You have to work upon problems which are faced by the company and provide solutions to them. Basically, like you're an internal consultant to the company. So at that point, you may not know anything about. So yes, a few weeks you'll just spend on learning. You learn from literature. You learn from your manager. You learn from the people operating. You learn from someone who is basically feeding coal to a boiler. Yeah, Pratyush, that would be nice. Uh, So guys, I made a quite small presentation for you. So will this basically I divided into 5 parts. Most of that I'll cover. I'll go through it. If you want to take screenshots or something, you can. So next slide, please. First is core for you. The main type of guys who join core, or the most interested one, would be you plan to do this after you graduate. You are interested in core, you have to do this. Next would be you want to intern at this to know if this is for you. This was basically my case. I wanted to intern at a core company to know if analyzing and researching specifically in core domain is for me or not. I'm still figuring that out. You'll figure that out mostly by the end of your intern, and then you'll register for placement, higher studies, or whatever. Next would be you just need an internship. You need an internship. You haven't prepared for technical or any other rounds, but since internship is important, you apply for core because they don't have specifically judgment, or you don't have to learn anything specific. Next slide. How to get started, aka CV, because I think the most important part for ITC was CV, because the role interview is based on the CV. So scholastic achievements, don't leave this part out. Scholastic achievements is a must. they'll look into it. Project section again, they'll pick out a project of that, maybe the first one you've written, and they'll go deep into it to know if you just written there, or because project section is something that is not verified by OCS. You can write anything you want. That is just at the interview. What you've written is what you've done or not. PRs and ECS, again, not much of importance, but you have them, show them off. That basically tells you're a holistic person and you do everything. You are interested in doing everything, and all these soft skills which you gain through PRs and ECS, they always come in handy at a company. You have to give presentation, you have to talk to a lot of different variety of people. You'll have to talk to operators, you have to talk to plant managers, you have to talk to the company CEO when giving a presentation. So that is a thing. Write all you have done. If you have done so much that it's not coming in a single piece of paper, first write it down somewhere else, and then shortlist what all is the thing you are best at, or what all highlights your capabilities the most. The next and the most important, you should have done all you wrote. If even if you feel like your CV is missing a bit of a white space, don't add random things. You can write most stuff about a specific project or a specific POR, but again, don't go copying something from some other person's CV just to make it longer. That is not at all a good idea to do. Next slide. Okay, so again, test GD. There are two types of things that happen basically in a core company. So for GD, again, easy to understand, difficult to answer. Speak, take the lead, so you can convince people of your idea. Practice with your mates. That's one thing I didn't touch upon. Me and my friends, what we did was we took random questions from the internet before seeing what ideas they had. We 3 or 4 people just sat down in a circle and we tried to discuss this among yourself. Don't take it lightly or amusing, because your friends are again going to be the ones, maybe not the same ones, but your friends are going to be ones you're going to be sitting with at the GD. So if you don't have the capability, or if you don't know how to do a serious discussion with your friends, you won't be able to do it there too. So practice this if you get a chance, and again, make your presence felt. You have to make your voice and your presence felt. That's the only way you're going to clear a GD. For test, no need to study anything new, just basic mental ability and those sort of things. You don't skip sections, like there would be some sections which are just basically on a scale of this to this, what do you lie on yours. So they have their algorithms to detect that if you're just place random stuff on there, or you actually answered those while reading. So spend time on those sections, they'll most probably detect that. Try mental ability beforehand for edge. If you're not compatible or familiar with mental ability and stuff, try it beforehand, and actually know what type of questions come. Like most of guys would have done something like NTSC or something in 10th class, so you would know what is mental ability. If you have not, just take a random book, take from the internet, there are tons of resources available. Next is the main thing, speed plus accuracy. You have to have a combination of both, the perfect combination, because there would be so many questions, maybe you'll have to leave out some, but again, you have to be accurate at the same time. But you can't be dedicated to a section so much that you leave out the other ones. So ask your seniors for the specific companies how many questions they had, if they remember what kind of these questions were difficult, how many were they able to attempt, and if they were the out of their friends, out of their mates, if this was the maximum they were attempted, try to attempt somewhat around them, so that you get accurate as well as you solve a good number of questions. That would be a strategy. Next slide, Pratyush. Okay, so excelling the interview, first the technical round, know what you have wrote. It's very important, know what you have wrote. They'll ask your CV. I can't stress this point enough. 2, read one again. You have to be thorough with your CV. 3, revise your core subjects. For mechanical guys, it is mainly MCL 241, MCL 131, and MCL 201. Design of machines, energy systems, not design of machine, it's somewhat that only, MCL 201. Energy systems and manufacturing systems. These are the main core related to industry that they teach you. So be thorough with these subjects, whatever they've taught you. Revise your slides once again, it's no harm. Know about the company again. I think one point we all have said again and again is, we made an impression in the interview by telling things about the company to the interviewer which maybe he's not even aware of. Like I told them the breakup of ITC, from what products they make, how much money. So keep this kind of stuff handy with you. Again, take your time to answer questions. Don't rush into the solution because then you'll mess up. And once you give or tell something wrong in an interview, there's no going back. Because then what will happen is, even if they give you a chance to come back, you'll be stressed. So it's better if you take your time and answer things correctly. The HR round, introduce yourself well. Like Prakhar said, it's better to write beforehand a brief about yourself. Don't show that you have mugged up, but also don't just sit there blankly. This is my name and all, and then you're sitting there. And like Priyanshu said, a good strategy would be to describe yourself through your years, as you have done in college, what you have done, how your interests have changed, and how you as a person have evolved. Don't lie. They'll they'll know when you're lying. Uh, they have taken tons of interviews. Be prepared for technical. I've said this. Make eye contact. Even if it's an online one, you're staring at the camera itself. But for the HR round, it becomes more important if it's an offline interview. If there are 2-3 interviewers, like these are some things you can get online in any YouTube video. So try to make eye contact with all of them. Don't stare at the ground, stare at the window, or stare at any one of them. You know? So that is something, and show how much you want this. Like they'll ask you tricky questions like, is this the only company you got shortlisted to, or is this the only company you have applied to? Like they'll ask you anything. So think what would be your answer to these kind of questions. You can say things like, no sir, I was only interested in core, so I didn't apply to companies of other domain. And then again, this is the first company that I've came to, or maybe I couldn't get shortlisted in the before company due to so and so. And now I have came to know about HL. I've came to know about so and so company. Like if you're appealing for a day 4 and 5 company, this would be the strategy. For a day 1 company, it's easy. You have to say, sir, this is the best company out there is, and I have to do it. So that is one thing. And for any company, I think if you're getting such a handsome stipend, the main thing is they expect you to be proactive in making your decisions. You are not a follower there. Okay, so you can't expect people to give you a task and you have to solve it. Like they'll give you a very general huge task, and you have to figure out how to break down your task, what steps to approach through that task, and what all you have to do. They'll give you everything, whatever data you want. They'll give you whatever manuals, whatever ideas you want, they'll implement them. But at the end, you should have an idea. Of course, everyone is going to be helping you around, but no one is going to give you a definitive path that you have to create for yourself in a company. So I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, finally, the same question for Priyanshu, sir. What was the process and how's your work experience till now?
Yeah, so for the process, basically, first did the series shortlist. Then we have the test. Test has 3 parts. First would be a basic digital part. So, and the second would be analog, and third would be the coding questions, right? So make sure you are very strong in your digital structures, digital logic, ELL 201. Along with that, digital logic and ELL 201, that's very basic course. You don't use that in industry no more. Okay, so whatever you studied in ELL 201 was used 20 years back. So the thing is, you need to study a bit. One thing is STA, static timing analysis. Second is system Verilog. If you study these 2 things, it would be very helpful in the interview. If you tell your interviewer that I know these 2 things. So STA and system Verilog is very used right now in every company. Okay, be it Qualcomm, Texas, or Nvidia or anything. So one thing is that. Second, analog you get basic op-amps questions. That's it, basic op-amp questions. And you might get some of the questions from EL 302 in some of the companies. I would say EL 302 in Qualcomm, I don't remember exactly if it was there one or not, but yeah, some of the companies ask questions from EL 302, but that's fine, you can skip those questions, you haven't studied that course. So also on the third part is the this coding questions. So there are very not specifically CP. They ask you very basic questions like what is the difference between x plus plus and plus plus x, right? And some of the basic OOP structures, what is encapsulation, what is the abstraction, this, or some output type questions. They give you a code snippet and ask what is output. It's not very difficult, but yeah, you should do it. very easily. That's fine. If you have basic concepts and all, like Cole 100, it's fine enough. Okay. Then we talk about interview. Interview. That's again, it's very important how you shape the interview, right? So you need to shape your interview through your strengths, right? So in interview, it would be a mix of HR, technical, coding, everything can happen. That's fine. So some of my, like in my interview, I took my interviewer more towards Verilog side. He gave me some of the questions of code. Like he asked me to draw Fibonacci series, write a code in Fibonacci series. That's very simple, right? So some of the basic coding questions and more I took him towards Verilog. So when I took him towards Verilog, he dig me into deep into Verilog. He asked me about STA. He asked me how a clock is made, right? So that's something you never read, you never go through. So it's a very question that you have to think at that point only, how a digital clock is configured, right? So basic questions, the difference between flip flop and SR latch, and basic you. And if you tell them that you have studied FSM, so they start questioning like how would you convert Moore into Mealy into Moore. That's some basic questions. Also, you can find these questions on internet, right? So it's very important to. You won't find any questions related to Qualcomm. Qualcomm is a bit confidential because it's a B2B, it's not a B2C. So you not specifically to Qualcomm, but yeah, you'll find some of their companies. That would suffice. Also, like some of my friends, some of my colleagues that are there, they had a question. They had questions based on Python, right? So if you know Python, that's very good. So I had to learn Python when I got into intern. So last month my project was on Python only. So yeah. So if you know Python, if you tell them you know Python, they'll ask questions regarding Python only or C++. So it depends from interviewer to interviewer or people to people how you shape the interview. Okay. And basic HR questions, yeah, one of the last questions they generally ask. There are 4 locations: Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, and Noida. So they ask you which location you prefer. I said Bangalore, but they put me into Noida. That's completely irrelevant. What actually, whatever you answer, that doesn't depend. Right? It depends on the interviewer, which we got to know. So like, वो जो आपका manager होता है, that depends आप कहाँ पे placed होते हो. Okay, so that's about the interview part. Mainly thing is digital systems, digital logic. Be strong in that. Read something out of the box, out of the syllabus. Okay. So and regarding my work, so I am in verification team. So some of my colleagues are in design team. Some of them are in this formal verification. I am in digital verification. There's a lot of teams there. Okay. So my work is mainly about on the verification part. In Qualcomm, they do not put you on live projects. Depends on mentor. It completely depends on mentor actually. There is no previous decision, like they don't know what to. It's not like they have pre-planned something. It's like they'll discuss you on the day one that what are your things you want to do, and they plan some project and give it to you on day 2, right? So in Qualcomm, they do not put you on live projects because you cannot do live projects. Live projects in chip design it requires 6 months of training, and you have only 2 months of intern itself. So they can't put you on live projects. They put you on something which is related to your streamline to your projects, right? So last month, in 1 month, I have been working on this automation things. So yeah, they can put you on automation. Like one of my colleagues is working on algorithms or RL algorithms and deep learning algorithms. So on design teams. So it depends on team to team. It depends on project to project. It depends on mentor to mentor. It's a very vast things that you can happen. Also, thing is like it's the thing which I love about Qualcomm is work-life balance and people who are approachable. So I completed my project and I said that I don't want to work on this Python anymore. I want something on system Verilog or Verilog design. So he gave me a project on. So he had started giving me projects on Verilog and system Verilog. So I'm learning system Verilog right now. So it thinks that yeah, they cannot put you on live projects, but yeah, they will give you the projects which somehow will be able to implement the scripts. So here everything works on models, everything works on simulators, everything is work on systems, on laptops. That's it. You don't have any. There are labs, but you don't do any groundwork. Okay. So it's all on simulations. So they'll put you on some project which will aid your simulations, but they won't put you on live projects. So that's it. The work-life balance is very nice. It's like 4+1. Like 4 days you have to go to office. Work 4 days work from home. Saturday, Sunday is off. So yeah, that's fine. Also, if I talk about work anymore, yeah, that's it. So the type of work which you will be given is would be mainly on coding in the beginning. If you do that project, if you make, like if you're very comfortable with the mentor, अगर तुम mentor काफी अच्छे से जान जाते हो तुम, then you can say कि ठीक है, I'm not liking it much and I want to work on this thing. So he'll give you on this thing. That's fine. It's not a big deal. But हाँ उसके लिए तो मैं प्रिपेयर रहना पड़ेगा. I have to study a lot. क्योंकि it requires, because even 6 months जो intern है Qualcomm में, they, some of them are given live projects, some of them are not given live projects, because there is some confidentiality details and all, a lot of stuff is going on in Qualcomm. So yeah, so that's all. Yeah. Hello. Hello, hi Pratyush. Yeah, it's fine with me.
Pratish,
That's
do you
all.
have any more questions for us?
Okay. So now a short question to end this interview. So well, as we bring this session to a close, I would like to go around and ask you guys to share a memorable or interesting incident during your internship. Like anyone can take up this question.
So in the first week, I think one of the team, मतलब it wasn't my but one of my friends who is interning here, उसको चिन्नस्वामी का टिकट दे दिया था उसके टीम ने, ऐसे ही घूम के there was some match and this there job. One of them team went to, there is a Wonderla, I think the park, and they all went there. So this kind of fun stuff. One day they had a gaming afternoon for everybody, and cake cutting था for the birthdays of the month, and they were 5 साल की उम्र की pictures, and उसमें you had to judge कि वो बंदा कौन है टीम में से, and people were making wild guesses कि ये वो. So these kind of things, I think हर 14 days पे we have one. So like at TI तो मतलब इस type की a couple of things.
Okay. So I think we will conclude our session with this. Thank you all of you guys for joining in. Thank you.